this is Kate from Generate Magic, and today I want to talk about what to do when unwanted situations come up, or situations that seem to be in direct opposition to whatever it is that you're trying to manifest. And just like I talked about the other day, it's really about seeing these types of events or circumstances not as the enemy, but as an opportunity to ground yourself more firmly in your desire and in your assumptions and in this new identity. And so, to use a couple of examples, let's say that you were trying to manifest or step into the identity of being a millionaire, and then you had an unexpected bill come up that really sent you into a spiral. So thinking about it from the perspective, from the identity of a millionaire would not be upset about this bill, right? Like it wouldn't even really register into their consciousness with any sort of strong emotion. Like it would just be as routine as brushing their teeth. And similarly, if it was something around a relationship, and let's say you were anxious because the other person hadn't texted you in a while, and if you were looking at it from the identity of somebody that was in a committed, loving, secure relationship, they wouldn't be anxious because the other person hadn't texted them in a few hours. And so yeah, just seeing this as an opportunity to ground yourself more deeply in your new identity. And, if you're having trouble kind of thinking about, how would the person in your desired identity, how would they react to that situation? It could even just be as simple as reacting differently than you normally would. And I think that is the first step in really grounding yourself in this new identity and this new assumption about yourself and your new reality. And I think I recently watched the movie Point Break, and I think the movie gives a beautiful example of this. And specifically, like, let's say that it was career success that you were trying to manifest, but your boss was just really giving you a hard time, right? Like your boss was just being really condescending and demeaning towards you. And so in the movie Point Break, it gives a perfect example of this. So Keanu Reeves' character, Johnny Utah, his boss is just really like chewing him out and yelling at him and telling him how stupid he is and what an idiot he is and how he really has no business being at this job at all. And Johnny Utah just has the perfect reaction. He's sitting there listening to his boss chew him out, and he doesn't get intimidated. He doesn't, like bow down to his boss or start apologizing or anything like that. Instead, he's just looking at his boss with this complete look of like cool, unshakable confidence, and he's eating a donut. And he's basically just showing his boss that he is completely secure in who he is, and nothing that his boss can do can affect him. And I think just this kind of aura of complete unshakable confidence and really audaciousness is what it comes down to. And it really kind of ties into what I talked about with Ferris Bueller as well. And yeah, just daring to have this cool confidence and this audaciousness, and not to let anything get to you, and not to let anybody ruffle your feathers. And no matter how loudly they're yelling at you, or no matter how many horrible things are saying to you, and the same, and when it comes to our reality, it's the same thing. No matter what our reality is throwing at us, and no matter how terrible it seems on the surface, just having that cool confidence and that unshakable peace and conviction. And so I even kind of developed a little catchphrase around it. It's how it, when we were, at least when I was a kid, people would have those bracelets, right? That would say, "What would Jesus do?" And so to me, it's, "What would Johnny do?" And so, yeah, now whenever I feel myself kind of getting into that point of like insecurity or letting other people get to me, I just ask myself, what would Johnny do? And looking at the bigger picture, right? Because I always like to look at the bigger picture. It's really just about grounding yourself in this identity as a multidimensional being, and recognizing that in the grand scheme of things, like none of the stuff that we think is such a big deal, whether it's our health or our relationships or our career, none of it really matters in the grand scheme of things. And so it's much more, right, about grounding yourself in the identity of what it is that you're trying to manifest, right? It's really grounding yourself in that identity as this dimensionally larger self and as this divine being. And I also kind of want to tie it in to, because again, like I said, I like kind of looking at it from the larger perspective and from the bigger picture. And so it reminds me of Matt from the channel Quantum of Conscious, and he talks about how when it comes to mass consciousness, reality is just constantly demanding that we take it seriously. And so all the stuff that we see in the media that's always trying to scare us, and and it's just demanding that we take it seriously. And one time I even remember, like, my dad was just watching the news and he turned to me and he was like, "Kate, this is serious." And there's all these situations in life that are just demanding that we take it seriously. And just like Johnny Utah's boss was just demanding that he take him seriously. and and I think the best thing to do in these types of situations is to just look it in the face. Just look that situation in the face. Look that boss in the face. And just have this aura of unshakable confidence and peace. And even laugh at it. I think humor is a great way to approach these situations. And just this sheer determination, no matter what it is that they're telling us, even if it's some asteroid that's going to hit the earth right this second, just having this phase, being in the state of complete unshakable confidence, and just showing that no matter what, you're not going to let it get you. You're not going to let it ruin your vibe, and you're not going to let it stop you from having a good time and stop you from enjoying your life to the fullest, because that's what it's really about, right? It's just like enjoying our lives and living our lives. And Vinny in Zealand and reality transurfing, he talks about these pendulums, right? And whether it's on an individual scale or a mass scale, we're constantly facing these pendulums. And I think the news is a perfect example of a pendulum. Mass shootings and things, just things that are kind of happening on the news in a mass scale that are trying to get us into this pendulum and into the state where we're anxious and where we're fearful. And I think there are certain situations, right? Situations where it almost becomes kind of like a cliche, like you're going to go to the DMV and it's just going to be a horrible time, or somebody cuts you off in traffic and you're going to get really pissed off at the person. I think these are all examples of different pendulums, different situations that are trying to get you into a state of fear or anger. And if you could I think just reacting differently in these situations, I think is the first step. And so if somebody cuts you off, instead of getting pissed off, laughing at the situation, or going to the DMV and having a great time at the DMV. I recently went to the DMV and it was a great time. They were playing some good music. They were playing a song by one of my favorite bands, Earth, Wind, and Fire. And everybody was there. Everybody there was completely cool, and it all went smoothly. And it was just a really good time. And so just to always be determined, and this goes back to one of my favorite mantras, that I am enjoying the hell out of my life no matter what. No matter what life throws my way. So I'm going to leave you with that today, to always enjoy the hell out of your life no matter what, and to always just have this unshakable peace and confidence. And remember, if anything ever gets you down or gets you into that state of fear or distress, just ask yourself, what would Johnny do? So thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.